This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
What is Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hey, folks. Welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Feeling a little bit better. I had, like you said, that night where I didn't get to sleep, where I talked about it last week, I ended up getting sick 2 days later, and I was just pissed. I hate it so bad. I had to miss class on Wednesday. As I said last week, we were doing those duck walks and all that other shit, right? So my quads were on fire till like Friday and shit, and it was like a week of misery. And just started kind of feeling better a little bit yesterday. Went to class today and, had a great class. So, but it's, I hate getting sick, bro.
I mean, who likes getting sick?
I don't know, but I hate that shit. We need to stand up and call it out, back straight, keep that shit away, but, what's up with you, man?
Not too much, man. Some of the shit got out on the thread, or not the thread, but the stream a couple weeks ago. But whatever, it's some stuff's going on personally, but we'll be okay. But yeah, man. Where do you want to start? Because you said that obviously this week we're at that time like right before WrestleMania, and if WWE doesn't have like a great show or anything, it's kind of like what are we doing at this time of the year right now? Normally. You drag me kicking and screaming and reviewing like the WWE 2K ratings, and I just play along and I just die inside while we go through an hour of it. But you say you didn't want to do that, and I thank you for not dragging me through that hell. So
so check this out. Apparently Sean Ross Sapp did this and did like an hour YouTube video of it. So I'm like, I've been doing this for years and years and years. SRS did it. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just let him have it this year. So no need for me.
How do I put some money on his books? Do I need to go buy like a Jamar Chase jersey or something like that? From Kentucky, Ohio. They're Kansas City or they're Cincinnati fans. I gotta do something to show my appreciation for that. Because boy, you came through clutch for your boy. Because I was sitting there like, man, we finna do this shit again. All right, soldier through. I'll just look at the camera and be like, yeah, that's a bad rating. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kayfabe for WWE no more. I have no context at all anymore. I got Jobber. I got the classics. I got Jobber, prelim guy, mid card, upper mid card, main eventer. That's all I got.
Hey, ultimately, I'm doing a good deed here because I'm just eliminating more WWE from the show. You know, just bit by bit. So it's like, do you want to talk about the WrestleMania main event until we get there? You know,
I don't think we'll ever get past that because it's too ubiquitous to escape talking about the WrestleMania main event. Because whatever happens, good or bad, is gonna make for a good clip, one way or the other. So, but yeah, man. Bruhaven says I thought James was more open to WWE than Rich. Yes, I am, but he's definitely more open to WWE 2K than I am. I don't play video games. I had a Citizens PS2. He like, why would I give a fuck about the ratings? I don't play the game. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, that's why. That's the difference. If I was into it, like, you know, maybe whatever else, but ultimately it's like, you know, you play who you want to play with. I don't give a damn about that rating. Go out there and win or lose.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, oh man.
Fed friendly James Boyd. Look, man.
That's nasty. That's nasty.
I think I got enough, you know, content to be like, if they're good, I'll say they good. If they bad, they bad.
So on a sad note, we're gonna start here on One Nation Radio. We're gonna get real sad in here for a minute, but George Foreman passed away at age 76. And George Foreman, obviously former heavyweight champion of the world multiple times, one of the greatest boxers of all time. Totally unique fighting style that I don't think really anybody has ever recaptured. Just such a unique man. Has tons of kids. They're all named George in some way. Huge power puncher. Just like absolutely terrorized the 1960s and 70s and heavyweight boxing, the greatest era of heavyweight fighting. He was just like fucking feared. They thought he was gonna kill Muhammad Ali in Africa. Like, he fucking destroyed Joe Frazier in 2 rounds. It was just like, and then he like loses Ali, and then his like career is like irreparably broken, and his confidence is shattered. He boxes for like 3 more years. There's a fight with him and a guy named Ron Lyle, who has a famous fight with Muhammad Ali as well. Ron Lyle, I believe, ended up beating Foreman. And then Foreman didn't fight until like 1990 or some shit like that, 1989. Or he was out of the ring for like 12 years or some shit. And that's a war, an absolute war. If you've never seen Ron Lyle versus George Foreman, just check the highlights out even. It's crazy. This guy goes and gets into the church, becomes a preacher and all that. And I imagine that wasn't as lucrative as heavyweight boxing was at a certain point. And then late in life, he basically was like, I'm gonna come back and box. And people thought he was insane, crazy. And you just look at it on itself, right? He hadn't boxed for 10 years at that point. He won that title at age 45, which is 1993. He returned in 1987. So he came back and he was like 39 or whatever. So they were very selective about who he fought. Obviously, they never let him fight Tyson or anything. But regardless, he fought his way back to winning the World Heavyweight Championship, and, you know, for doing something later in life, that's super inspiring. That right hand never left or whatever, just always kept it there. And he made so much fucking money on them grills, like, and became America's grandfather after like white America like was terrified of him. Black America too. Like, just looking at Foreman when he's young and looking at how dominant he was and all that, And there's a great documentary called When We Were Kings, which chronicles the fight in Africa, in the Congo, between Ali and Foreman. And the way the stuff like Ali would say about him was reminiscent of some of the stuff he used to say about Frazier or whatever. And they talked about how Foreman didn't really take to the people in Africa and stuff like that. And he, showed up with a dog, like a German Shepherd and all that, and they didn't like that shit. Just kind of a fascinating character, and then becomes this beloved grandfather later on, and then he dies this past week, and it's just I saw a picture of all the old heavyweights, and I think only Larry Holmes is still alive. It was Ali, Frazier, Foreman was in it, and I think
Norton's not still alive, is he?
Norton's gone too, I believe.
Okay. So
it was just damn, these are champions of the world. When being champion of the world was you might be one of the five most famous.
It meant something totally different and outside the context of somebody that's even younger than us. Yeah.
Right. And I'm getting
because at least we had a Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis and an Evander Holyfield.
Right. I'm getting to Foreman myself on the back end. I'm buying the Sega Genesis George Foreman boxing video game and stuff like that. I don't know, man. It's sad to hear it. And he was a fucking great fighter. Just one of the smart. There's a video I watched maybe 2 or 3 years ago where they talked about his style and how he made it work at an advanced age and how no one in boxing had ever did no shit like that. And it was just this guy's a genius. And then that shell defense and all that. And it was it was really inspiring to see, to think about him doing something later in life, setting his mind and wanted to do it, and he fucking did it in the face of everybody and everything.
Yeah, it's so hard to in my context for Foreman, I only have Foreman, bald head, fresh face, smiley, old guy that somehow is, hanging around the top of the sport. And then you're oh yeah, that dude faced Ali. Huh? Now how's he still? and then you see what he was in his prime. You're they don't even the same person. It's
excuse me, he won it at 46, not 45.
Jeez. That's beyond even the Kareem shit. Winning finals MVP 15 years apart, you're in your mid 40s and you're the world champion, your heavyweight world champion. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man.
Gold medalist in the 68 Olympics. So obviously, crazy time in America at that time, 1968. So never really celebrated.
People were boycotting the 68 Olympics.
People were not happy with George Foreman. For going.
Yeah. I didn't know his situation. I remember 68 was that was Kareem and OJ.
Yeah.
Something tells me that George Foreman and OJ are not, their reasons for both attending were not the same. Something tells me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, legendary fighter and all-time punching power and how many kids is it again?
George Foreman, let's see. How many kids? I will look it up.
It's not as many as Holyfield, but it's enough that he named all of them George.
12 kids.
Got
5 sons, 7 daughters.
Never mind. It actually is about as many as Holyfield.
Yep. One of Holyfield's kids debuted in WWE recently.
I didn't know that. Where, LFG?
Yeah. Okay. Or, yeah, one of them shows. The Tubi show or something. I'm not sure.
Okay. WWE has a Tubi show?
Yeah. Yeah. It's, what the fuck is it called? It's the Evolve show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
that man. 12 kids is nuts. It's a whole jury, brother.
Whole jury, more than a starting football offense, all that shit.
Yeah.
Was supposed to kill Muhammad Ali, literally. Like, people thought Ali was just gonna die. Like,
do you remember what his? I forgot because it's been so long. Do you remember? Did they ever talk about like how he fell for the rope a dope? Was it because he kept getting egged on by Ali talking shit? Is that
Ali
what it was?
talking all that shit? He was like, hey George, that's all you got, George. Like they told me like, you was, about it, whatever. And then, Ali basically was saying like, he got Foreman tired, and then he got him pissed, and then like Foreman was destroying everybody, so he had never even gone that long. I don't think at that point.
Okay, so he pulled him into deep water and outpaced him. Obviously, he did that, but I didn't realize like that's what corners are for.
Yeah, you know who was in George Foreman's corner?
Who?
For the Archie Moore.
Are you serious?
Yes.
And he didn't realize, hey, you need to slow down?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, so like
some of the Legend of Ali stuff is like, the Sonny Liston thing. And
he figures shit out like that's common sense. Like,
yeah, it's like if it works, it works. If it works, it works.
So like the he beat up Jerry Cooney, which is hilarious.
He beat his ass badly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knocked him down twice. He fought Holyfield in like a fight of the year, essentially. When he was 42 years old, he didn't win, but he went the distance with him. And that was when Holyfield was fighting all the old men. They said, who is you really beating and all that stuff. And Holyfield just jumped up. Then he ended up beating Michael Moore for that title. Moore wasn't anybody that was like, some killer or anything.
Right.
But, and then like he never lost that shit. He was like, I think he was going to fight Tony Tucker, who actually used to, when I worked in Dunedin down there, he used to shop at the Publix. Like he would be running and doing his morning workout. He would come in. I never knew it was Tony Tucker or whatever. But someone, told me whatever. And then, Shannon Briggs, he retires again. And then, he's a minister and all this stuff. And he worked in HBO for years.
Yes, he did.
Like, he was just like a huge face of like boxing for multiple generations. So, rest in peace to George Foreman. Like, he's great. And if you guys never like watch anything about George Foreman, I would check out that Big George movie. I know people sometimes think biopics, they all suck and everything. And you might think it sucks, whatever. But I enjoyed it. I liked it. I kind of, get into the idea of like, at least some kind of theatrical recapturing of people's lives and all that.
I think the thing that with biopics is it comes down to, did they nail the lead role?
Right.
Is that person charismatic? Like, Get On Up has tons of issues. But Chadwick Boseman is so fucking good portraying, like, and capturing, like, the charisma of James Brown that by the time, like, he's in that hallway walking through Cincinnati and he's got in that red suit, you're like, you forget that, like, one thing for me when I watch biopics, like, especially if it's a named actor, is like, this is Denzel Washington playing Malcolm X, right? Like, like, so, but by the time, but like the thing of it is like, if someone is a performance so good that you can at least forget for a second, and like, obviously in Malcolm X, Denzel did that. Chadwick Boseman did that. Like in, I just think that's what it comes down to, is like, movie, good, bad, whatever. Can you nail the lead role and with, your writing, with your cinematography, your shooting, your editing, can you get, especially if it's a music artist, like, can you get to the point where like they start performing and they're at the concert, you can then, let all the smoke and mirrors overtake somebody on a big screen. get someone to lose themselves or immerse into what's on the screen. So yeah, I'll check it out. I never saw it, but I'll check it out. Do you know what it's on?
I'm sure it's up on streaming somewhere. I've watched it on streaming before.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah. So I believe it might be Big or whatever.
I'll find it.
I think that might be.
I'm sure you type in George Foreman biopic, it'll pop up.
Yeah.
And it's only from like the last like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. And there's people that do they have boxing channels on YouTube and they talk about Foreman strategy and all that. Like that's another cool thing to check out. I would recommend for folks. So, but yeah, man, rest in peace to George Foreman. So, another rest in peace. Apparently, we are coming down to the wire here of Dynamite passing Nitro as far as the how many weeks they've been on air and everything like that. And man, got here kind of, and it was funny when everyone started talking about it. They are obviously doing a special event for AEW that week. It's April 16th will be the week they pass them, I believe.
Yeah. Is it called Spring Breakthru?
Spring Breakthru, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I forgot about this. I knew it was coming because shout out to Suit. He would talk about it every so often, but it was always like, oh, that's like a year and a half from now. Like I would just like put it away or whatever, wouldn't think about it. And then you look up and we're here now, and it's like, all right, there's an element. Do I want to pour battery acid and piss, as King of the North would say, on Eric Bischoff? Sure, there is that. We have time to do that. We have time to get there and roast him over an open fire. But this almost, as much of a celebration that it is for AEW, when I think about it, it's almost like a celebration for how much I love WCW. Like, and how much a lot of people love WCW. And then you think about how long Nitro was in the tank for and how long it was good, and then it like wasn't and whatever. And then like you think about that compared to Dynamite, it's really not close or whatever.
Oh, of course.
Like the lowest that Dynamite has ever been, it has never even approached 1999 WCW. Like, of course not. So like it's like
they kept stripping the belts and like making like having new title chases. Like by the end, it was bad, man.
Yeah. So like, for them to be approaching that that 6 years and stuff like that, it's like they are in rare air. Not only just when you compare them to WCW, I believe it was Trevor Dame did a pretty in-depth tweet thread about it. Like you look at promotions in America, and by year 6, you either know who they are, they're out of business, they're bankrupt, or they're like, oh, they fucked this all up, like, and they're just gonna limp on forever, like TNA or whatever. But Ring of Honor, like they were gonna be dead until they found a buyer, essentially. Yeah. Smoky Mountain Wrestling obviously never saw no year 6. WCW came out here with the Nitro era, pretty much with 6 years or whatever. There are some people that want me to play a little something special, which I will load up.
Oh man!
But it's gonna be interesting, man. Like I think that this shows that Eric Bischoff could really be walking in, being celebrated here, right? We could be looking at Eric Bischoff and being like, it wasn't you the whole time for Nitro, but you were kind of the guy for most of the thing. You put the show on the map, you ran it, all that stuff. And I think people would have no problem really showing the reverence to Eric Bischoff if he had not decided to like literally just turn into a above Cornette level grifter. So like from there, it was really hard to take serious what he was saying. To get so insulted by Tony Khan, and he either wasn't offered a job, or he heard a comment maybe he didn't like Tony said or whatever, to take it out on him that way.
Let's cut the shit. There's no one's ever confirmed this. He thought he was gonna get a job. He ain't get no job because he's a grifter.
An old carny. A smart man. Like, not a dumb man at all. Knows exactly what he's doing.
Right.
Knows how to rile people up. And he did it for years and years.
And if you're Eric Bischoff, why would you think you weren't going to get a job? He got a job from WWE in 2019.
Yep.
After not being in the business for how long?
It's like when you're in wrestling, like those checks, like you just always find a way to get them. Right. And then if you can't get them, I imagine this is one of the endings. If you don't get that check, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to figure out how to get this here check or whatever. And then, now the fans are pulling back up now. Like, hey, you done shit on this thing that we love or whatever for years and years and years. And now it's time to pull the receipts, the resume. It's time to, talk about this show completely surpassing you. Your legacy.
I saw people on Twitter over the last 2 days, over the weekend, try to argue with Dave Meltzer about when Meltzer mentioned that, like, yeah, this year AEW is going to make more money this year than WCW ever made in a year, and they were like, "That's not possible. You must not be able to account for inflation." And I was like, "How much you think them $30 million in '98 stretched? You think it stretched to $160 something million in inflation over the last 25 years? What are you talking about?"
We want to talk about how much money they lost in 2000. So if they're going this way with the inflation.
You ain't even got to go to 2000. They made all that money in 98 and then immediately took the very next year losing money again. People forget that. Like, WCW only made money like 1 year or 2 years ever.
Yeah.
So
their pay-per-view business fell off a fucking cliff. Eric Bischoff.
Well, when you're at the end and you're promoting a match of like Goldberg, whether or not he followed a fucking script, maybe your buy rates will die a death.
It's so funny. Oh my god, that shit is so funny. So now the fans are pulling up on Eric Bischoff and asking him, "How about it?" And I'm here to do it, man.
Didn't he run out the back door like last week?
I heard something about that.
Like a week ago.
I heard something about that. I didn't get the exact story. Do you want to fill me in?
Okay, so I believe remember, like, he was doing 83 weeks, and then that stopped, and then he started doing another podcast, and then
business podcast,
right? And then like just recently, like in the last week or so, all of a sudden, like, it's discontinued. And it was like, you knew what was going to happen. You was gonna have to bring it up because you're gonna talk about AEW. Like, hey, bro, didn't they just surpass? Watch he pop back up a new podcast in like 6 months or some shit like that. He not slick.
Stick to selling mortgages. Go sell meat from a truck in Minneapolis. Put the pack up for this man. On the bitch off pack. This sucker and this bum. This guy is proved himself to be an all-time fraud and liar over the years, who embarrassed his own self on his own podcast, talking about booking decisions that he forgot he didn't know how to explain them. He fucked the finish over a tan, James.
Yep. That episode was so bad that, like, that clip alone of the decision, he talked for like 40 minutes and he let Conrad just sit there and let him. And then he went to the point and he said, "I'm kidding me." And he started yelling at him. "You fucked the finish over a tan? Are you fucking serious?" Look, bro, my favorite Bischoff criticism was him complaining about the TNT title being defended on TBS, not TNT. And I quickly pointed out to him in a quote tweet, I was like, you let Sting defend the U.S. title against Kensei Sasaki and Sumo Hall. You don't have time. You don't have room to talk. You did the same thing, except worse. The Turner those are sister promotion or sister channels. You defended a championship that belongs to a country 11,000 miles away. We're done here.
So, and the amount of people that lap this bullshit up, bro, like, I was in disbelief. I'm like, why would you listen to business advice about Eric Bischoff, right? We know he got it hot with one idea, in 1996.
Yeah, and he kept getting it less and less hot, repeatedly doing the same idea over and over and over again.
And then, what about what he did in TNA? Just bulldoze that company. Why would we listen to this fraud ever? Eric Bischoff is less credible in pro wrestling shit. Who you want to name at this point? It's been damn near 30 years since the NWO. Like, next year is going to be the 30-year anniversary of the NWO. Why the fuck is anyone listening to Eric Bischoff at this point? This nigga has nothing but a track record of malpractice and failure. And riding Hulk Hogan's Johnson.
Yeah, and the crazy part about it is you go back and look at those rosters and like, yeah, WCW should have won. They had Eddie Guerrero.
Talk about it all the time.
Yep, they had Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio. Like they had the foundations of like that SmackDown 6. They had it.
There's a lot of motherfuckers to blame for the death of WCW, but right now, Eric Bischoff, we on your ass.
Oh,
it was your fault. Look, it was your fault. We were out here left for fucking 20 years with bullshit, with one option in America.
Yeah.
It's because of you.
Yeah.
And people like you that didn't appreciate the business, that didn't respect the business, that got worked like a fucking mark and played like a fiddle by masterminds like Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan and Scott Hall. They didn't look at you and see it equal.
Favorite nations.
What do you think they looked at? They looked at you. They saw a check. They saw a mark. They saw a trick.
Yeah. And the worst part about it is like all the talk we were talking about like on the stream before we started recording the podcast about like the guys in WWE that are going back to WWE that had their tenure in AEW and to, whatever level of lukewarm success, right? Like at the end of the day, those guys did not like suck AEW dry the way that like Hogan and Nash and Hall did, or Luger or whoever else you want to name that went back and forth. Like those people like had their run, had their matches. Some were good, some were bad. They had their weird booking stuff like everyone has had, and then now they're on the way back, or they are back. Like AEW is still going to be around 5 years from now. WCW did not survive none of that. They got sucked dry.
You paid Disco Inferno money to wrestle professionally, Eric Bischoff.
How much was Vincent getting?
What's up?
How much was Vincent getting?
How much was Swole getting from the No Limit Soldiers?
Right.
We can just talk. We can talk all day.
No. What was that check that Lenny Papa was getting?
150,000 who never work matches. I don't want to hear anything about business from Eric Bischoff. I'm sorry. Ever. Pack him the fuck up. And I hope Tony Khan leaves that flaming pile of shit that I talked about previously on the step. I hope there's some small mention of Eric Bischoff or WCW in general passing them. What do you think Tony Schiavone's going to think about this?
I mean, think of how happy Schiavone has been on air in AEW. And the things he said about these are some of the best matches he's ever seen in his life. And obviously, Schiavone is prone to hyperbole or whatever else. And with the enthusiasm, whatever else. But there is, we've heard the interviews with his podcast, whatever else, like since then. He's having more fun than he's ever had in pro wrestling now than he did back then in the quote unquote glory days. So yeah, I think that's telling enough in itself.
Remember, this motherfucker opening shows on national television. You're going head to head with WWE, and then you come out there and the whole thing begins with this. Are you fucking kidding me? You're not even, that shit ain't even plugged in, you fucking asshole. Get him out of here, man.
Rich doing all the audio gags, making it hell for me when I have to edit this on the back end. Thank you, Rich. Damn.
That one I played straight into the mic. That one should have been okay.
I didn't hear none of it, so I gotta go on the stream and get that.
Yeah. But yeah, man. All right, man. Let's get off here.
Let's save it because we'll have some more in 2 weeks. We'll have some more in 2 weeks.
Man, yeah, I'm fired up. You know, I wasn't expecting to get that upset thinking about Eric Bischoff and what he did to this pro wrestling landscape in the last 30 years.
I mean, I mean, we've had these conversations before. It's just sometimes you get re-mad about the dumb shit that you've had to endure in your life. Sometimes you like,
can't believe this.
Yeah,
because he had so many great ideas, James. Like you were mentioning. Oh yeah, let's do the cruiserweights and all that stuff. Let's have a overarching company invasion. Yep. You know, let's have a great mid card with just wrestlers everywhere. Let's do all these cool things.
Let's be more realistic compared to WWF's at the time, like cartoonish, like Next Generation or New Generation.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And flat out, an awesome television performer, a fucking hilarious guy.
Yeah.
Like, I know people were like, you watch this clip, and I buried this man under the earth. He deserves it.
Oh, he's an all-time talent. He's an all-time on-screen talent.
Yeah, no, like, if you've ever watched Karate Man Bischoff, oh my God.
No Flex Zone Bischoff? Man, please.
So,
like, you gotta remember, for some of y'all might think that might be insane. This is true. February 98's pay-per-view, if I remember correctly, wasn't it Bischoff versus Flair? And the buy rate outdid Austin versus McMahon, St. Valentine's Day Massacre?
I don't remember that, but I do remember something about... They went
head-to-head, and Flair Bischoff outdid, in the buy rate, that one. Yes.
It wasn't Hogan Bischoff. It was Hogan Flair.
No. It was Bischoff versus Flair.
Let me check that. That was Super Bowl 98?
I believe so.
Okay, Super Bowl 98 is Sting versus Hogan, the rematch.
All right, do 99, I'm sorry.
99. That one is Hogan versus Flair, that cage match.
Hold on, I need to find this. Because I was listening to a Brian video more like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was like, what?
Okay.
Hold on.
I was like, I don't remember. Like, Hogan versus Flair was at Starrcade.
There was a Bischoff and Flair. I mean, it may have played a part of it, but there was Bischoff and Flair going on at the time. And this was like around the time they were reforming the Horsemen. I think this is when they put Benoit in it.
Okay.
Hold on.
Bischoff calling out Vince McMahon at Spring Stampede 98. That might be it. Might be what you're talking about.
No, hold on. I'll find it.
Okay. But yeah, if you've never seen Karate Man Bischoff, like, just hilarious. Like, all right, like, think about, like, if Speedball Mike Bailey was not intimidating at all or precise at all.
Oh,
like,
my God.
And, like, Speedball Mike Bailey is like, all right, I don't know how old he is, but say it's like 15 years from now. And then that's what Eric Bischoff is. Yeah. So Bischoff did give us some positive, fun memories, but man, he's just been such a soul suck on so many of the things that we liked, enjoyed, and then now it's just funny because he's just categorically wrong about anything relating to modern wrestling. And how could we barely expect him to know anything about modern wrestling? Because he fucked up old wrestling too. So
yeah. All right. This is when they were battling over the presidency of WCW. So this is like December 98.
Okay. Yeah. Starrcade 98.
Yeah. Right now I'm going bro, the AI is pulling this shit up. But there was some point like in the storyline, like there was like if I remember correctly, there was like a heart attack angle with Flair as well. Like it was, and like the shit was like at that point in time, it was outdoing Austin and McMahon at the time. Anyway. I have to come back next week with that one. I'll get it all straightened out. Because we're doing this shit on live, and now we're gonna have the ombudsman in the chat or in the thread be like, "Yeah, you fucked this up, all up, James." I probably did, but I remember Brian and Vinny were talking about this shit. It was like, "Yo," because they were covering Nitro in Raw, like what was it, 16 years to that week or whatever. So it was like they were going through it. I was going all the way through it for years at the point in time. They got to that point, I was like, "This shit sounds awful and hilarious at the same time."
Last Eye says it did a better buy rate than WWF In Your House 26 with the Austin Taker Buried Alive match.
Okay, that's what it was then.
So, moving on. Swerve versus Moxley set for Dynasty. Very short turnaround, even shorter, less time to get to. For WrestleMania, Swerve's been suffering injury that ruptured eardrum, hoping to get cleared soon. So that's a shoot.
Travis Scott got a hold of him.
What's up?
Travis Scott got a hold of him.
He did not. But from there, like we had a Mox Cope match last week from Dynamite. It was a street fight, brawled all around the arena. It had the big spike board was the kind of takeaway spot from this thing. I thought it was okay match. Doesn't really save the program or anything for me.
It don't. I really enjoyed the match, but it didn't.
Yeah,
it
was just like
that's one of the best spots you're gonna get all year though. Like that shit stuck into his back. Like the main thing was, I think, because I've seen people's reactions to it, like they were just like, "Oh, bed of nails situation." But the thing with the bed of nails is your waist is distributed amongst your whole entire body on that bed of nails. This ain't no whole bed of nails. This is a 1 foot or 1.5 foot by half a foot thing. So it gets stuck into him. Like he takes the bump, and I'm like, "Oh, that's bad in itself." But once he lifts up, to his, and it's stuck to his back, you're just like, "Oh no!" And every you see people's reaction videos to it, like they're like they wince on the bump, but then when they see it, they realize it's stuck to his back as he got kind of like Undertaker raises up and sells it. Everyone's eyes just bug out because it's so nasty looking. And then Yuta, does his spot, and then he tries to pull it out, and it's like, "Oh my god!" Everybody, my reaction too is like, "Just don't pull it out. You're gonna rip all the skin off his back." It was just nasty. It was, man, that was one of the better spots in AEW history as far as like just nastiness and gathering emotion and just like the grossness of it. And that's saying something for John Moxley. Him and Omega did that barbed wire web of whatever the fuck that was in that one match or their second match. That was nasty. So yeah, man. Man,
that was like a super House of Torture bloodline match. All the Death Riders were back in full force. You was involved in the match. We ran out the crowd and tried to help. We ended up getting cut off.
I don't recall there being black people in Death Riders, but if you say so.
Look, we just lie and say we were in it. As many people was out there.
I think that if we ran and all of a sudden they stopped fighting, be like, "Fuck are they doing here?" What's going on?
I am friendly.
Can you imagine? I'm not trying to be funny, right? Can you imagine, like, this is something that would happen to R-Truth, right? Like, this is R-Truthian type shit, where it's like, this shit don't have nothing to do with him. He just show up out of nowhere, and they just stop looking around like, what is this black ass doing out here? Like, but anyway, yeah, man,
I snuck Wheeler Yuta on the side where the camera didn't catch it.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, you had Nick Wayne out there, you had Death Riders out there. It was a lot. It was a lot. FTR as well.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
FTR was there. They got disappointed after the match. I thought they were going to turn on Cope. I think they should just kick them rather than leaving it like, well, what's going to happen now? They're doing an interview this week and all that. Just do the attack, man. Get to it. You left a nigga alone for a month. Like, I don't. But yeah, like it basically, ensures Mox keeps the belt. The Swerve feud is set to kick off at any point now. And man, I just don't know how Tony Khan is going to look at this, right? He's got a great opportunity right now.
Yep.
Look at WWE being on the fucking ropes. Like they're tripping over their own dicks right now. They can't do nothing right. Every time you look up, there's another multi-man match. There's been one more person added to the championship matches. There's been another promo where nothing happens. Like another show airing at a weird time of the day. Like this whole Europe tour thing has fucked them up or whatever over here.
And historically, right? Didn't the European tour used to be after WrestleMania?
Correct.
I don't know what made that change. Obviously, new regime, new rules. They just playing it how it goes all the time now. Flying by the seat of their pants.
So, like, for me, it would be really hard to resist the temptation of making the fans happy here, which I think they
Isn't that what a booker's supposed to
do? I think they have a great chance to do that. We know. It was like, all right, you stuck with Mox and Cope all the way through this pay-per-view cycle. You went past it and did it on TV too, right?
Right.
And now that's the fuck out the way.
And you got the best result. You got the best match you possibly could have out of them with the ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
How can you possibly sell your fans that you are about to beat one of the most overmen in the promotion in Swerve? How can you sell that to your fans? That's what I want to know.
It's more than even that, Rich. How can you sell your fans that what they're going to get at the big flying show in July in Texas for y'all in? Like, you cannot under any circumstance have anybody under even the doubt that Jon Moxley may make it to the main event of that. You can't. You have to move on. You have to. Like, the idea that Swerve gets announced as number one contender and then, was it Russell Ticks, like, it's shown like it's jumped the ticket sales by 1,000. They've opened up new sections.
Yes.
That should tell you everything you need to know.
I really think it's a simple call here. Unless you're so locked in to whatever's been promised to Jon Moxley where it will like irreparably damage whatever with him. But I'm sorry. It's either produce or get the fuck out the way at this point. It's been how many months, James? 6 months now with this belt? We've done this?
October, right? World Stream was October, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And essentially, like, the whole unit and everything started in September before that. Like, look, if Swerve goes out there and continues to be the person he is, as far as, his connections to the crowd, work rate, business, the drawing, it's going to be, like, someone's going to have to sit me down, right? Someone's going to have to pull me aside and be like, Rich, this is why it happened. I'm going to need a reason.
At this point, there's no explanation good enough. There's no explanation good enough.
Correct.
When you have what you have on deck for your summer, and what's at stake potentially, there is no other scenario that mirrors this where like they don't pull the trigger and just change the belt. Other than like some dumb Vince stubbornness in the back half of his career, in the sad part of his career. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no,
because like people want to know about restoring the feeling and basically like everything. Like, it's right there. It's literally right there.
I'm not even talking about restoring the feeling. It is literally like, hey, this is the flat out better option at this point in this stage of the game. And if Jon Moxley or whoever is around Jon Moxley, as far as the political part of that, can't like understand that, then like Jon Moxley is quite frankly not, and his people aren't as smart as I thought they were. Like, this is the easy laydown. If you're Jon Moxley, like, okay, I'll put it this way. If this was a Rock in this situation, what do you think The Rock does? The Rock lays down and gets the fuck out the way. Because he knows he'll get it back at some point, in some way, in a favor. Not necessarily the belt, but like, he'll get the win back on the back end at some point down the line. Jon Moxley has that kind of cachet in the company to where, like, yeah, if you fall on the sword here, it ain't really falling on the sword. It's like, hey man, take your L that you have quite frankly earned over the last half year, and then move down the card. Like, yeah. do you want to do pro wrestling the rest of your life? Because like the way you want to do it, because you ain't gonna be able to do it the way you want to do it if you go back over there. I promise you won't.
Yeah. Like, and it's horror stories coming out about WWE right now. I'm not at liberty to really discuss them, so leave me alone. Sorry. It's a little breadcrumb for you, but yeah, it's just like, just the way the business is run is fucking weird. Like flat out. But I think that if you're Moxley, I think there's like unless you're so in love with this is going to be great heat and all that, I'm like, all right, man. Like, because I really think there's a chance to literally grab the pro wrestling world by the throat and announce that like AEW's like back on fire again, like in a way where everything's fucking hitting like it was the first, including the main event years of this, in the first 3.5 years of this company, where it was just like, oh, you got people freaking out, you got people afraid of this promotion that doesn't have to play by yesterday's rules and anything like that. Or you stay with the status quo, which kind of Jon Moxley has become.
I wouldn't even necessarily call it the status quo, because look, man, quite frankly, if Jon Moxley was Jon Moxley from 2019 through 2022, we wouldn't be having these problems, right? Like, it ain't necessarily the status quo. Is that like he right now is not, this act stinks. It's the act that stinks. He's not a good heel. So yeah, like, they need to move on just to get it off of him. Rip the Band-Aid, because like, it's better do it now than look, because you know, like, Rich, you're more the alarmist of a situation. I seriously think that like whatever momentum they have, not momentum, like as far as whatever at whatever rate they're selling tickets to All In or whatever else, I think it greatly reduces people's like last minute purchases or whatever else to want to go. I seriously do. So right. I don't think you want to play that game.
If you got Swerve holding his belt, and then you're like, yo, we got Hangman on one side of the bracket, Ospreay on the other, and then one of them niggas gonna meet him there at the field. I think them tickets start rolling the fuck out like that Ludacris song. Right. If you have Jon Moxley, it's like, all right, Darby Allin, who we haven't seen in forever.
Right.
Love Darby, great wrestler, all-time wrestler. They missed the time.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about Mount Everest. I don't think the wrestling fans do either.
Nope.
Like, so
not after what they just had to suffer the last 6 months. This has not been worth the journey. It has not been. It's time to move on to something else.
Yeah, like there's so many people firing on all cylinders right now, and if they get this one fucking thing fixed, I think we're talking about the hottest company in the world again by far.
Look, I don't care about that part. I don't care about the hottest or whatever. I care about this show, or these pay-per-views in this show since this year's turn, since the calendar turn, have been consistently good to great. The main event is the only thing in the way from this show. Like, even with the Death Rider thing stinking, last week's show was great. Because Death Rider was actually good this week. He actually had a good week. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just imagine you move that shit down the card where it doesn't matter. You put one of your most trusted and hottest acts in the main event slot, and you pair him with people that he's already has major success with, and it's almost close to a lot that is going to be a great story to get to Texas. That's all I'm saying. It just makes too much sense to not do it. And it's one of those things where it's like you weigh the options, the pros and the cons, and like, not to be con. That's not a pun, but like the only thing that could make any sense for sticking with this is just laziness
and promises. But yeah, switch the belt.
Yeah,
here's your warning now.
Yeah,
and
we've been saying this for weeks now at this point. So
yeah, so just figured I'd drive it home, and y'all should probably get the program started too. Like as soon as we could do that. So anyway, let's go on.
Wow, what's up? I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
Another title match at AEW Dynamite was made official. Toni Storm taking on Megan Bayne, and what a meteoric rise for Megan Bayne has been. When we were, thinking about how far we've come with Megan Bayne, where I once said on this show, she was manufactured in Joshi Discords to make AEW and Stardom fans argue with each other. We didn't know the contract status and all that stuff. I was a fan of hers early on, knew she would do awesome in Stardom. She had a great run there.
Immediately got over night one, or not match one. That's a better way to put it. Match one.
Essentially, was kind of kept on ice throughout this entire Tony and Mariah saga, because at that point it doesn't really make sense to have Megan Bayne around if you're going to have the TBS belt in Mercedes land, and then everything here was leading back to Tony and Mariah for months and like 18 months. So there's no real use in bringing her in like that. As soon as that was winding down, she did emerge. And it was really cool to see her, come in and just be like a woman Brock Lesnar damn near, the way she was introduced on the scene. And she's, defeated Chris Statlander twice. But, the BMW division that we talked about here. And it, I think she's got some, and I think she should win, and it should be ugly. It should be F5 City, lots of them, or whatever. What do you think about this thing getting locked in?
So I never really thought about it until you get to the point where, all right, well, this is Tony's fourth reign. We're at a point now where she's basically a forever champion. She can have the big win that she just had at a pay-per-view, and she can lose it quick to somebody and make somebody. And I'm probably overstating make, because Megan and Chris Statlander have made Megan Bayne over the last month or whatever else. But I mean, solidified a thing where it's put her on her right now. She beat one of the biggest heroes in the division, or maybe the biggest hero in the division. Yeah, the biggest hero in the division. And the next person that beats her, eventually, she's a monster. It's classic booking 101. I'm down for this. I'm down for this. Whether that's Willow Nightingale, whether that's Chris Statlander, cool. We talked about that all throughout the last year of all right, Chris Statlander and Willow have had these great showings and have the crowd behind them in its way as baby faces. against Mercedes, but Mercedes gets the win, and it seems like they're setting those two up to chase her. But this could be something. This would be the if they don't beat Mercedes, this could also be the award as well. So, yeah, I think this is I think they have opportunity, a real opportunity to like do this and also move Tony like away from the title for now and like do whatever feud they can find for her without the title and do 3 women's programs on pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think Bayne would be just such a shock to the system just because they have no real precedent for this, like as far as just getting somebody in, heating them up on the women's side. And, this is different from Mercedes, like where she's a well-known commodity. Obviously, she's winning the fucking thing as soon as she comes in. This is akin to like, people don't really know Megan Bayne like that. She was in Stardom. She was like working on AEW Dark originally.
Right. This
is not an established like superstar or anything like that, but you can make her one real fucking quick. Yeah. Like they've, and you mentioned the chess pieces getting moved around. Willow, Chris, like, you got like, if you strap her up now, you can take her to All In. You can have her win, lose, whatever. You can have baby faces win the women's Owen to try to get to her.
Right.
Like Statlander doing those jobs, essentially. Like you could use that to set up for Statlander to win the thing.
Yeah.
It seems like Mercedes and Athena like are starting something starting there. I don't know if it's going to be a dynasty or after or whatever, but if Mercedes is, out the way doing something else there, then for me, that's like a race between Willow and Statlander to get to Megan Bayne, I think. And that would be like, bro, like that's like,
and especially because of
you have Tony still and Mariah.
Yeah,
so like,
and you still have this part where it's like, you could have them both chase that and potentially face each other and like make amends along the way. Like you have these like interesting story elements because of the work they've done with each other and their partnership together in the past and their split and everything. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff there at play. It's interesting. We're just putting a dominating heel champion there. That's just, overwhelming. And they haven't really done that since Nyla at the beginning.
Yeah, Megan Bayne kind of did her first speaking over the weekend, like in a promo package, and she passed the test on that. I don't think she's going to be getting handed the microphone in the middle of the ring and do anything like that, but she's getting protected super well. I think there's no reason to show what she can't really do. You just focus on her being fucking awesome. She's got the aura, as they say. She looks like a star. She wrestles like a star. Strap her up. Like, I know people are going to be upset because they love Time with Toni Storm. They love the match that they had at Revolution and stuff like that. It's fine. I promise.
Hey, look, man, here's an example of it, right? It's not the same dynamics, but it's like, you had Tanahashi and Omega at Wrestle Kingdom, was it 13?
Yes.
In 2018. And then like by New Beginning, he lost the belt to Jay White. Tanahashi lost the belt to Jay White. Like it could be something similar to that. It's like you had this person's X number reign. It's not their first, not their second, not even the third. This isn't like the first time where they need a long run. It's like we're past this long ace run type period. Get her a short run, get her out of there, out the paint or whatever else, and then she can move on. And she might get it back in 18 months, or she might move over to TBS. Who knows? But she can. But it doesn't make sense for her to be the champion. And this is and it's also mirroring. Like if they do this, it's like, gee, I wonder who else has multiple title reigns with the top title in AEW that should probably move on and have a short reign, but instead it was 6 fucking months.
Funny. But yeah, and there's like plenty of people to throw out that have done a good job in helping build up Megan Bayne. Thunder Rosa has been getting thrown around out here. Stat, as we mentioned. And Tony's going to do the ultimate work, I think.
Yeah. So One Up made a good point. He said she did lose that first match versus Tam and still got over. I mean, look, she got over she was over before the Tam match. She got over on the Road 2 shows when she was out here throwing around May Sierra. When she was doing that, that she was basically tagging with Suzu and May. And then like she had the match with Tam, and then like that was a match where like it was like, okay, she's more than just a big monster that doesn't go, go to her knees. Like when Tam folded her over in that German suplex, I was like, oh, okay, she's here to play. And then sure enough, flash forward to last week, her and Statlander, what are they doing? They're folding each other over with repeated German suplexes. Like, yeah, she's real. So, yeah, man, that match was awesome. So, like, I just, she's here to play, and they have presented her very, very well. And shout out to Chris Statlander for saying, "Hey, I'm going to go out here and get this woman over. I'm going to eat pin after pin for her. I'm going to get my ass kicked by her to get her over." And I can't wait for the next match between those two. The first match was good. The second match was better. Who knows? Let's see what they do with even more time.
So, another match was announced. It was Kenny Omega versus Speedball Mike Bailey and Ricochet in a 3-way match. As I mentioned, I was sick last week, so I missed like the first hour of this show, so I didn't see the 4-way match or anything, but I saw the finish and all that, and I was just like, I know 3 ways. I was like, yo, can I just like have them fight one guy and then fight the next guy the next month?
I have a rebuttal for you. Do you remember Kenny Omega versus Pac versus Orange Cassidy from 2001?
I do. No one else. I do. No one else does. No one else seems to recall it was a great match.
That was fucking awesome.
Like, I don't know if it's a Kenny thing where he wants to get his 5-star 3-way match, like because he's been trying to do it for years and years or whatever.
Oh, you talking about when he's trying to win a Bushi and Cody? Oh yes. God, that match wasn't nearly as good. That Cody shit was not nearly as good as that Pac and Orange Cassidy shit. Not even close.
So I don't know. I wanted to see him versus Ricochet 1-on-1. I like Speedball Mike Bailey. I think he's great. I want to see him versus Kenny 1-on-1. It's just like, all right, like who's not taking the pin here? And like, I don't know. Hopefully it's just a firework laser light show. Yeah. That's kind of what I want to see here. They announced Kenny Omega versus Blake Christian, a match that I saw and I was like, well, why? Like, but then I just started thinking, I was like, well, whatever. I guess this,
What? Why? I saw people in the timeline. I was like, why are they acting like they're treating Blake Christian like he's not good? Like, does the GCW stuff piss people off that much?
He's good, but you know what it is with him. Like, he's an enemy of the Ko-Fi motherfuckers, and like, people don't like him because he does flips, whatever. I'm like, all right, like whatever. Like this guy's raw. Like he went on the ROH pay-per-view with I think it was Commander, and they went crazy.
I know,
or whatever. But
we've had Kenny Omega have a blast of a match. I think twice with Alan Angels. Right. Like
I saw people comparing that to this, and I don't think that comparison actually kind of holds up because Alan Angels was a literal nobody. Blake Christian is not a nobody.
I'm not saying I'm not talking about the unknown.
I'm not talking about you.
Okay.
But like that's a comparison I saw people making. Y'all remember Kenny Omega versus Alan Angels? I'm like, bro, we didn't know Alan Angels from a can of paint. We had no idea what he was capable of. Right. We actually know what Blake Christian can do. So it's
and let's put that aside. Let's say they both were unknown quantities at the same level, right? That Alan Angels thing should prove that you should shut the fuck up and just watch the match he's gonna have because those were both good, dummy. That's not a good point. Saying when he did this with no name before, like, yeah, and it was really good. So maybe you should shut the fuck up.
Like,
do you have the memory of Earthworm?
But is it the match that I want to see the living legend Kenny Omega being booked for right now? No, or whatever.
I get that. That's not what I'm arguing. My point is this some match where it's like, oh my god, it's gonna be bad? No. Is it gonna be some match where, oh, it was only okay? No, it's gonna be really fucking good.
Look, I would rather him in there. Him in there with someone like a Blake Christian, with somebody that instead of somebody I know that just can't work or is just some stylistic, just nightmare contrast with Kenny Omega.
Timothy Thatcher. How about that then?
Like, what the fuck? Like, no, I don't want to see that shit. Like,
put him in a sugar hole, Tim. Look, the tough white man stuff I enjoy, but like that's not what we're here to see right now.
So weird match being announced, but that Dynamite is fucking loaded on Wednesday. There's like 5 singles matches coming on Wednesday where it's like...
Yeah, like there's Takeshita and Mark Briscoe too. There's like Fletcher and Brody King.
Yep.
There was a good women's match. I forgot what it was.
It's a tag match. It's Thunderstorm against Bayne and...
That's right.
Penelope, maybe?
Yeah, it's Penelope. Yep.
Yeah, they want Kenny Omega versus Jonathan Gresham and shit. Like, no, man, I don't want to see that shit. Like,
Gresham ain't never showed up on con television again.
Yeah, like hell no.
That was like, what was that? 2 years ago?
Yeah,
was it longer than 2 years ago?
3 years ago.
Yeah. Like, hey man, like I ain't checked in.
House versus Mark Davis.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. You gonna hear the crowd yelling "meet" 1,000,000 times. Speaking of that, now that we was talking about it, has anyone checked up on Terminus? How's that going? I don't know, honestly. I haven't heard a peep about it. When was their last show? Did they only have one show? I think they got more than one show, right?
I believe they had at least 2.
Yeah, because I remember Dan Garcia. Dan Garcia was on them shows. Damn, someone said terminated. That's fucked up.
Damn. All right, let's see. I got them here up on a cage match. Terminus events. They have ran a grand total of 4 events to date. 4. The last one being in July 21st, 2002. It happened in Morrow, Georgia, which is actually like 20 minutes from the crib out here.
Like the Terminus, like that name is like it's tied to Atlanta in some way. I forgot what it is though. But yeah, man.
So let's go through that card or whatever. So
on the last Terminus,
this was the last card.
Was Dan Garcia on the last Terminus? He was on the Terminus shows.
You know, he might have been.
I believe too.
So the pre-show, we had a pre-show modern age grappling rules match. Will Ferrara defeats Adam Priest in the 3rd round, whatever that meant. A singles match, Khan going over Cheeseburger. Singles match, Invictus Cash defeats Mike Bennett by referee's decision. Jay Lethal beats Baron Black. Remember Baron Black? AEW Dark Days?
No.
Okay. Singles match, Jonathan Gresham defeats Konosuke Takeshita. Boy, they was taking advantage back then. They was taking advantage.
What year was this?
This is 2022. That shit should.
Oh, that's nasty. That back when Takeshita came here and said, "I'll do any match versus anybody" at that time. That's nasty.
Yes. The Factory, Aaron Solo and QT Marshall defeat C4, Cody Chun and Guillermo Rosas. And then the main event, Queen Aminato defeats Masha Slamovich. Terminus has not been heard from since.
What's the shit that Scrappy was in? Hood Slam? Flow Slam? Which one was it? Hood Slam?
Battle Slam?
Battle Slam? Man. Terminus.
Bang, bang. So, last thing I want to talk about today. So, it's been about a little over a year now. Had the big 3 signings of Mercedes Moné, Kazuchika Okada, and Will Ospreay to AEW. I figured we could talk about each of them in their years, in the promotion, how they've kind of adapted in their own ways and all that. So I guess probably go. Who would be interested? Who do y'all want to hear us discuss first? Frankie, appreciate the subscription. So I'm going to let the chat decide who goes first, who we should discuss. Brewhaven, first man in, says Ospreay. So let's and then Wasabi came with Mercedes. All right, next one, tiebreak. Look, next person, start with Ospreay. Okay, we're starting with Ospreay. So Will Ospreay signed late in 2023 while he was still under contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Basically, finish out over there and tons of crazy matches, including the cage match with Okada, 3-way match at the Dome, rolled in and then promptly unleashed just a legendary year, adapted, I think, like a glove to this company. Showed up a much better talker than anybody would imagine. Instant chemistry with so many people on the roster because he has history with tons of people. It's almost like you get like a perfect gift and you unwrap it and it's like, oh, this is like this one thing I need to like make everything fall into place. That's what I think I can describe Will Ospreay as. You want him to have a dream match, he can do it. You want him to have like a personal rivalry where he's kind of like a senior to someone's junior, he can do it. You need someone in the C2, he'll do it. How about pay-per-view? Do you want great pay-per-view matches all year? Yeah, he'll do that too.
So how many more do we need to go before we get to like, yeah, Ospreay is the greatest pay-per-view performer of all time? Are we already there yet?
I would probably go another year at this rate.
I mean, because who has that batting average?
It's very tough. It's very tough.
That's basically all I was pointing at. Is like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, like I think Will had a great program already. Frankie says, I agree with the Tunnel Talk ladies about Heyman bringing him to that great program he needs. I think he had a great program with Kyle Fletcher last year, but I think our tastes are different there because, you just look at the ring and everything, that kind of relationship. Like, we kind of have more information on what the Fletcher and Ospreay dynamic, was. So I think we're receiving it in a little bit of a direction there. And I think he had a great program with Swerve as well. It was short, but it was based on competition. It was based on a personal rivalry and history amongst them. I did not like the MJF program. I think that weakened him a little bit, but he did what he was going to do.
I don't remember the Danielson program. I'm blanking.
There wasn't really one. Yeah, okay. There wasn't really one. It was like, this is a dream match. Y'all know what it is.
Gotcha.
And then he drops him on his head.
Oh, also, the Kenny Omega program was great too. From 2023 to the Forbidden Door match, they had a great TV program on AEW.
Different year, but I mean, he was laying roots in the company already then.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, doing all that, then hell, taking it to Wrestle Kingdom, then taking it to Full Gear, or not Full Gear, Forbidden Door. Like, that was a great TV program.
Yeah. So like he's like looked great in short matches,
turning on that kind of stuff involved in all that too.
Tag matches, long matches, dream matches, championship matches. Like, this guy does it all, man. Yeah. Like, and like I can't really ding him for much. Like, and the guy's flying back and forth from the UK to do this. It's not like he's here or whatever, and then just traveling around the country easily. And like he's taking that long ride every week. So. Like, my hat goes off to that guy. Like, he's fucking sensational. Like, and I don't know, like, hating on this guy at this point, like, that's like, I can't get with it personally. Like, I think this guy is so fucking phenomenal. Like, it's gonna be so cool when he like he gets crowned as the man one day. Like, I don't know when it's gonna be and all that, but. Like I've always kind of said with this guy, he is not the enemy. This guy is like cut out of the same shit as all the wrestlers in this company you love.
Yep.
They all love him. They all love working with him too. And they all recognize him. You should hear the way Swerve talks about Ospreay before like even they were in the same company together. Like, you should hear the way like, I mean, you can see the critical acclaim the guys met with, like from people like Dave Meltzer and stuff like that. And I know people let Dave go crazy and be like, Dave says I should like it, so I'm not going to like it. And I'm just cross my arms like that. I'm like, all right, I know that's there, whatever. But this guy has been chasing this shit. And when I say chasing this shit, it's like trying to be the next fucking of the super guys like that we're losing. Or whatever, in retirements like Bryan Danielson and, how many years we have left of Kenny Omega and AJ Styles. Like, he's trying to like
losing
walk
Kota
in that
Ibushi to injury. Yep.
Kota Ibushi. This guy is walking in those shoes, and he's walking around with the classic guys of his era, like Swerve, like Hangman, like all that stuff. Like, this is the next dude. Embrace him.
You know how that is. Like, when somebody is so like outstanding, people just they become like weird traditionalists about this. You know. Like, they're like, this is a bastardization of the fake sport. It's like, all right, bro. Yeah, you got it. You got it, bro. Whatever you say. Yeah. So,
yeah,
it's not like he doesn't have great matches in all different types of styles of pro wrestling. Like, it's not like he's doing the best Super Juniors like shit anymore. He's not.
What'd you make of his first year overall?
Incredible year. One of the greatest years in the history of pro wrestling on TV. I mean, I can't say more than what you've already said. It was incredible. You know, he had the match of the year last year in AEW. He had the match of the year worldwide in AEW with Danielson. Like, you know, that's the thing. So, yeah, man, he's incredible. Like, everybody he's had like a TV feud with or whatever else, like, he's had some type of classic match with him seemingly so far. Like, that's really hard to do. Even in like 1 year. Like, even someone like 2016 AJ Styles didn't have classics with everybody. He had some great ass matches, some really great matches with people, but not necessarily classics with everybody. Ospreay's reeled off classics with everyone that he's had any type of feud with. That's really hard to do. Like that's an incredibly hard bar he set. And like, if he continues to keep it at this stage, like, I don't know how much longer he does this or whatever else at this level. But like, if he rules this off for like another half decade, like, there's gonna be some uncomfortable conversations about like where he stands as all time wrestler. I mean, it's already there now, but I'm saying like another half decade of this is gonna be like, hey man,
that back breaking consistency, it will break your neck.
Feel like, bro, even this guy's already been like the best ever performer for the last 5 years, and like he's gonna hold up and do another 5 years. That's not, and the way he wrestles is like you think he'd end up in a wheelchair, let alone like do another 5 years. Like, dude's incredible wrestler.
Yeah, like, it's just, you think about like the 5-star matches that he's had or whatever, like just that list, right? Because we all kind of consider that list of the guys with, you know, that have those, you know, matches or whatever. Like, Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada are tied for 28. For a long time, it was like, bro, no one's going to get close to fucking Misawa, Kobashi, and Kawada. Mm-hmm. And then Okada and Omega passed them.
Yep.
And then, like, when you look up, it's like, yo, man, Will Ospreay has 21 more than, like, Okada and Omega. It's like, we're already out of there.
Yep.
But, like you said, add 5 more years onto this at this point.
We're almost at a point where we have to look at, like, Misawa and Kobashi as, like, Reggie Miller. And then look at, like, you know, Okada, Ospreay. Okada and Omega is like, okay, that's Ray Allen. And then it's like, okay, Ospreay is just see Steph Curry. Like, we're kind of at that point. Like unless there's some like devastating injury where he's gonna be put on the shelf for a long time or debilitated, like where else do you think is gonna go over the next, you know, few years? It's only gonna continue to be very nasty.
Crazy, man. Like, I think the guy's been sensational.
So
stuck at the Triple H.
So GT Richie says Ospreay is first in 9 of 10 areas. He's second tier promo so far, but he's so far ahead of everybody else. Here's the thing, like, he's probably the best babyface promo in AEW when you give him the mic. Like, when he first came in the first few weeks, like, holy shit. And even the promo he cut, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? That was a great promo.
Yeah, well, he was just talking about his trip and, you know, everything.
Yeah, like, he's incredibly, like, he is charismatic and likable in a way that, like, you will not respect based off of, like, the stuff if you're not someone that's not familiar with him. But he's been cutting like great promos for, at this point, like, since 2023. Like, great promos. So yeah, like, is he as prolific, as many as like, let's say a Eddie Kingston or a John Moxley? No, but like his A game, it definitely hits on that level where he's like, yo, this is the guy. And even with Kingston, when he cuts these great promos, like, I don't feel like he's the guy because he can't be the guy. You know what I'm saying? When he's in his bag, it's like, yeah, he feels like the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So up next, let's talk about Mercedes. So Mercedes Moné came in, lots of fanfare, her own event, AEW Big Business, and immediately walked into the TBS title, made a new generational rival with Willow Nightingale, and kind of seemed like Willow was like the answer to like, all right, because you walk into a new company, it's like, all right, who are my next people going to be? Because just when you look at it, there was nobody new waiting for her in WWE at the time. It wasn't like the literally people Mercedes has gotten signed to WWE at this point weren't there. They didn't have Julia there. Hell, even Kyrie wasn't there, like, or Io wasn't there anymore at that point, I don't believe. And then with Mercedes, I think there's a rough transition with actually rolling her out to wrestle. Like, it took a while, and they were making her a babyface at first. There seemed to be like some tinkering, with the gimmick to try to essentially set her in the correct alignment, and she got there by the time the Willow match happened.
Yep.
And from there, I think it kind of goes pretty slow or whatever, and then kind of peaks at between All In and All Out with rather disappointing matches at both. Probably more so All In than All Out.
What was the All Out match?
All Out with Sheeta.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So, and at that point, it was like,
but
it
was still markedly better than the Brent match.
I would probably say maybe a 1-star difference between them.
1 star is a big fucking deal. 1 whole star.
Yeah,
that difference between good and great.
1.5, 2.5.
No. What I'm saying, I'm not saying that you're wrong. What I'm saying is like, I think you're understating how big of a difference between the 1 star is. That's a big difference. If I give a match 3 stars, that's good. I give a match 4 stars, that's great. That's a big difference. So yeah,
I
man.
think when I go lower down the scale, it changes for me. It's like, when it's under a certain point.
Okay.
So, but through that, like, Mercedes, like, her promos weren't hitting. Like, and like the stuff that they had doing just wasn't. It wasn't like what we thought we were getting. I think at first. She did like continue from there to like start racking up belts and stuff like that. She was like, all right, I'm gonna go find, my mojo. I'm gonna wrestle in Stardom. I'm gonna get in the ring with like, Azumi or Hazuki and all these, other people. And then eventually they start, she starts familiarizing herself and kind of adapting to the promotion. And she starts catching fire after she gets the Britt and Sheeta matches out the way. It's like, all right, man. I remember going into the Statlander match. I was like, yo, switch the belt. Like, we know they want to make her the real champion anyway. What are we wasting time for? Like, and like, she'll figure it out then or whatever. And, they ended up keeping it on Mercedes. And now it kind of looks like a good decision because she started like rolling out pay-per-view banger after banger after banger, TV banger. And going back to the Dome, with all those belts and, the way the belts have expanded around her. I think she's been like a slow riser, and then now she's cooking with gas right now.
Yeah. I think it took a lot.
Stephanie Vergara a job. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes down to just like she had to finally like get weird with people. Like a lot of like she understands how to be a heel, but sometimes she could struggle with like being lame in a way. And I think once we got to Statlander, it was like, oh, okay, she's getting it. Like, she understands that she has to, like, get her ass beaten, laid out, and be foiled with her plots all the time, like, to get Statlander over. And then, you know, when I meant weird, I meant really like the Harley stuff where, like, she's doing the stuff with Harley, and then, like, she's like, you're a dork. And then she's like, she's like singing along to the fucking song. It's just, yeah, man, and then she's like, she's making faces like she's selling for the doll or the puppet, or it's just the part where she's starting to, like, you know, starting to get into I don't want to say Kurt Angle-ish, but like the part where it's like willing to tap into the character and be silly in a way, as a heel, I think it's done wonders for her, not only just her, but for, like, especially her opponents. So yeah, I think that's definitely helped in the last, especially like starting this year. But yeah, like, you know, and then there's also, like, the stuff she was doing outside of AEW. I think it's also helped her in AEW as well. Like the Hazuki match, that got all the acclaim or whatever else. Like, I think that's like, that's kind of like the part where it's like, before it was only a pay-per-view she was having killer match. Now it's like every match is killer. It's been killer pretty much since then.
Yeah, she's been able to essentially say, hey, this is what I want to do this month, Tony. I want Momo Watanabe in a pay-per-view match, and they just fucking did it. So, like, she does, like, a lot of just cool things, I think, for you know, folks that want to see her do cool things. And I think and
she's going to win PWI 150 this year, or 250 this year. Watch,
she should.
I know
she should.
I know.
I mean, they might give it to Tony.
4 belts. Tony took what? How long off?
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. So
King of North say, God, Momo Watanabe a pay-per-view for James Boyd. Yes. yes. Yeah, absolutely did.
Rhea Ripley, Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. Oh, I hope they don't do that.
Nah.
But yeah, let's talk about Kazuchika Okada. So I think by far the most interesting out of the two, I think that he kind of got the most, or out of the three, he kind of got the most. Like, if you listen to some people, I think you can have people tell you Kazuchika Okada has been an absolute failure. He is a one-note lame gimmick now, and he made the worst decision of his career, blah blah blah.
Yeah, he made the worst decision of his career by leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling to then force him to go into looking into newer stars that he can then eventually, in years passing, come back to and wrestle. That would not have become the stars with him still there, because they would have put the belt back on him again and killed them. Yeah, sure. And he'll also be richer before he comes back by wrestling in America. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna I'm sure he's gonna be traveling back and forth for the rest of his career for next 10, 15 years. I'm sure. Dumbasses.
Oh. So, well, I haven't loved everything Okada has done as far as, like, in the ring. Sometimes I think he's come up short in ways where I didn't expect him to. Whether it was, you know, chemistry with an opponent or something like that. He's, you know, kind of in some ways, like, he's not lights out in the way he once was, I think.
I agree with that.
But I think, like, if you challenge him, like, obviously you tell him to go in there with Will Ospreay or whatever, he's gonna rise to the occasion. Like, I don't worry about putting him with Omega at all. Like, I think them two are gonna do exactly what they've always done, which is fucking go crazy or whatever. I think he is something like.
Match.
I mean, there is that. So they put him in his own universe with the Continental Belt, so that is kind of kept him largely out of world title contention. He did get that one kind of goofy match with Danielson for the belt that just kind of came out of nowhere. I think people have, like, you know, if you look at his year on paper, right? If I pull it out, it's like, all right, he had a great match with Kyle Fletcher. He's had a good match with Pac. He's had, you know,
that wasn't just good.
Yeah, great. I was there in person. Yeah, that shit was great. And, you know, I did not like him being in the multi-man match at All In. I thought he should have had a singles match. But we've seen people not get singles matches at All In before, so it kind of, that list is long and disgusting, actually. So I think with Okada, like I liked what they tried to do with putting him with the Bucks and the Elite. I just don't think they got enough time to really like flesh it out, what really the Bucks and Okada's dynamic were, like why it makes sense that they're together. Like I don't think they explored that enough.
They have not. And also, like I thought about this earlier today. I was gonna do it's day 100. It's day 100 and blah 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 since the Young Bucks have appeared in All Elite Wrestling. Where the fuck are they? Yeah, man, they've been gone since what was that? The end of October or was that November?
Wrestle Dream, I think, or whenever they dropped the fucking belts.
Yeah, Power Party. When that on TV?
Yeah, it was on TV actually. Yeah, and they shredded those documents.
Right.
And they were in the dome and shit like that. But they have not been around.
Like he's in he doesn't speak English well. He's in a faction with three people or with three other people that speak English. None of them showing up to work. What do you think was going to happen? Like I understand. I get it. Like in a vacuum. But like, let's be adults and like add in the actual context. Let's be honest about the context. He was in a faction that relied on other guys to help him comedically feed off of. They are not there. So now he's basically out on his own. And so like the matches, some are good, some are really good, some are great even, and then he'll have some sprinkles of some absolutely awesome stuff in between. Now for a guy that we think, or a guy that, is one of the all-time greatest wrestlers of all time, I get why people have been, feel underwhelmed or whatever else so far. I agree. There's also the part where like, it seemed like the first program he's going to have was going to be with Omega at like Wembley, and then diverticulitis struck. So a lot of stuff has been put in the air with what his plans were, and they haven't really adjusted well to give him something really long-term to sink his teeth into, aside from him going out in C2s and kill. So, yeah, I get the criticism, but I think some people skew too far into the, what is he even doing is like, he's been fine. Would I like him to do, what I'd like him to do better? Of course, but it's not like it's not binary, it's not zero, it's not pass fail. It's something like a C.
I would say, like, if I had to put a number on it, I would probably give
his level of talent. It's like a C.
I'd probably say like he's like a 7 out of 10. I would say and then for Mercedes, I would probably say she's like a 9 out of 10, and then Will, I would say he's like a 10 out of 10.
I would probably go to Mercedes, probably being like an 8.5 out of 10 based off the start being rocky. But yeah, that's I'm not too different from you.
Yeah, so like.
And if I could, I'd give Ospreay more than 10 if I could.
Yeah. So like, with Okada, I think there needs to be, because obviously like Kenny Omega's hang over his head. Like as far as like, that's the big match a lot of people want. What I'm looking for for Okada is like, is there somebody else that he can have this all-time magic with? Like, is there somebody else on the roster that he's going to tap into that we don't see coming? Like, not just an easy answer like, hey, have him wrestle Takeshita. Like, obviously, I think we think that would be great.
I got one for you.
Who you got?
What's Kaito doing?
Kaito Kiyomiya?
Yeah.
No idea. He's a Noah, I think.
Nah, he was doing something on American television and getting his ass kicked recently.
He was in that Canadian promotion, Maple Leaf Pro. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't think Kiyomiya is the same guy he was a couple years ago. Okay, Nithmane, describe to me exactly why Okada and Moxley is a money match in 2025, because I disagree.
No. If this is John Moxley like 3 years ago when he was actually dying to get that match, then yeah.
As far as like, because it's like, I think the dynamics right now, obviously you have to change them. Right. I don't want to see all the run-ins if he's a Death Rider or anything like that. John Moxley would have to turn babyface before we even talked about that. I feel like.
Yeah, like all this, anything you want to do with John Moxley, I'm willing to hear it out. I'm willing to hear it out, but he has to turn back to babyface. Anything like this Death Rider thing? Nope. Like, bro, the downgrade from BCC to the Death Riders has been dramatic. And they were twins when they were in BCC. It's been dramatic.
Yeah, so like I'm looking for Okada to find like somebody to really get that magic with. That's like kind of on the roster that either it's like you wouldn't expect, or it's just like, okay, like is it a young wrestler? Is it somebody that is like just kind of been around them, but they never really crossed paths? I think Swerve would have been a great opportunity, but I don't know between them the wrestling style. I think Okada might be too slow, like, and it won't like.
You know what the real answer is?
What's the answer?
He needs to be out there on Collision wrestling luchadors.
I'm not opposed to giving it a whirl.
No, I'm just saying, like, you think of Kota Ibushi, Ospreay, Omega. Some of his best matches have been with, faster paced
people that are
fast paced wrestlers that get Ospreay, right? Shingo, get him against someone that will move, that will help him pick up the pace, or whatever else, and then you get your 20 minutes of jaw dropping sequences, and then you're like, oh, it should be the Bandito, perfect, Phoenix would have been perfect, but Phoenix ain't here no more.
Yeah, that's the one that got away, I think.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. I think the main thing is like they need to figure out how to position him in a way to where like he just isn't in his own universe. We talk about the MJF verse, like there is definitely a Rainmaker verse. We just don't talk about it, but yeah, it's like, oh, okay, so
like,
oh, he just, describe it in that way. Like we talk about it, but we don't describe it in that way where it's like, oh, he ain't doing shit except for just doing his own little thing, and he's not like interacting with nobody because his teammates are off TV. Like when he did the whole thing, with Buddy Matthews, and then with Brody King, is like, okay, I see what that is.
Like Darby might be the guy, like,
God.
for
him and Darby,
Okada. So like Okada and Commander on Collision. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. I know he wrestled somebody. I couldn't think of who it was.
Okay, I forgot about that too.
But yeah, now you talk about somebody that's fucking totally different that is like you've never crossed paths with, and there's like, and I think they did in like one of them cage matches and shit like that. But like it's a singles match. Like if you tell if Darby's the champion sometime this summer or something, and he's got to defend that shit against Okada, that is a fucking match I want to see. So, and imagine like Kazuchika Okada be like, "What are you on a skateboard? Like, what the fuck?"
Yeah, that would be funny.
Oh, there would be a lot of interesting things to do with that. So, but yeah, so like I think Okada is like he's been fine, but he's not knocking it out of the park. It's not like one of the best things in the company. He's just kind of like it's like they're keeping him just in first gear kind of until it's like, all right, we want you to turn up for real.
Right.
I don't think they've got the incentive to really make him turn up right now.
Yeah. And to be fair, Takeshita and Okada, they've both been heels when they've made eyes at each other in the past, but like, man, like, I still don't enjoy the part where he's a heel. I don't enjoy what he does. He goes to the Rainmaker pose every single time. It's a fucking like at this point, like no one falls for it anymore because it's like every single week, every 3 weeks, it's the middle finger. Okay, we get it. So yeah, but oh well.
You just better hope Cope don't try to wrestle him or something like that. So
didn't he say he wanted to wrestle him more?
Absolutely.
I could have swore I remember him saying that.
Yeah. I'm trying to make sure Kenny Omega avoids them too. So
no, thank you. But I would sign up for a Christian Okada match.
Who's the babyface there?
Oh, I didn't even mean like in the dynamics. I mean like just you put those two together in their styles. Like I think they'll have a really good match. Because obviously, like Okada is Randy Orton on the very best day of his life, and like Christian and Orton had some really good matches.
Okada and Nick Wayne, that'd be funny. Like, yeah, this is Nick Wayne.
That would be a smoker. Like, hey man, just watch the 2023 G1, and then we'll take like 4 things out of that. Yeah.
Okada and Speedball Mike Bailey.
My God. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Ricochet Okada. Yeah. Like, not attached to the C2. And not none of all the bald shit. Like an actual, try to have a killer match.
But yeah, that was all I had, pretty much. So yeah. Holla.
Yeah. Good fun show. It's okay to only go less than 2 hours sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, y'all. If you're watching from the
one more thing I want to say. Happy 4-year anniversary to Tunnel Talk, who celebrated their 4-year anniversary as a podcast. Not all of them were with us on Social Suplex, but obviously they've come in to the family since then. They are experiencing what it's like to look up and realize you're dedicating this much of your life to professional wrestling. They talked about it this week on their show. And, I thought it was really cool of them to kind of, hear their reflections on it. And I'm very happy to have Tonal Talk on Social Suplex. I think it's just like I think the great thing about Tonal Talk is like, yes, you'll get attracted by, them being funny, them saying, the different, kind of innuendos and, sexual humor and different stuff like that. But like underneath all that is like a really unique way of looking at wrestling that I don't think had heard anybody on the scene doing. And then breaking it down and talking about what it felt like from a completely unique perspective. They are not comparing this to WWE because they don't even know what the fuck WWE really is or was before that. So, big shout out to them. Love their show every week, and they've got they've set this thing on fire since they've came through.
Yeah, before even outside like the 4-year thing, it wasn't like a 200 number or something like that.
It was their 200th episode.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I remember it was a nice round number I had heard about. Yeah, okay, yeah. Because congratulations to them, our spiritual sisters. We are nearly as silly as them. But at the same time, they're probably more funny. They're definitely funnier than us because they're like that shit. Some of the shit I hear them say, I'm like, yeah, I couldn't imagine saying no shit like that. I can't.
Happy birthday, Brewhaven.
Yes, happy birthday, Brewhaven. Thanks for listening, y'all. That's in the show. If you are watching from the stream, be sure to go to the link in the podcast when the show drops and go to the Wrestle link and you donate there. Also check out the Chop Tees store for One Nation Radio. And be sure to
some merch.
Yes, get the merch.
Like, I need y'all to get some merch from the Chop Tees. Take a picture of yourself, put it in the Discord. Let me see who really rocking with your boys.
And be sure to listen to other shows in the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, All Things Elite, Wrestling Art with Chris Things, AEW Match Guide, All Things Elite, the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Show, Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast, and Tunnel Talk, of course. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Hey, the family needs to do sit-ups. I don't give a fuck.
What is Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes, I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to paint their door a vibrant shade of blue. Others have the need to decorate their bathroom with fish, anchors, and other nautical items. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.